Creatures crawl into the underworld. Afterlife, an abyss protects you. In the light, goddess of the sun brings you life. A deity, best it is her name. Come learn the ways of man, become one with the sand. The fate is in your hands. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Come to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim this is war. In the dark, a river flows. The Nile is so big, power. The morning star is seen in our side. In the light, find your desert altar and your shrine. Look for peace, defeat the enemy. Run to the obelisk, defend this legacy. Fly to your destiny. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Come to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim this. We rise higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up. We are the kings, we are the queens. We are the gods, goddess of all this land and nation. Turn on the walls, making our mark. 'Cause we are the kings, we are the queens. Let's win this war. In the dark, creatures crawl into the underworld. Afterlife, an abyss protects you. In the light, goddess of the sun brings you life. A deity, best it is her name. Come learn the ways of man, become one with the sand. The fate is in your hands. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Come to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim this is war. In the dark, a river flows. The Nile is so big, power. The morning star is seen in our side. In the light, find your desert altar and your shrine. Look for peace, defeat the enemy. Run to the obelisk, defend this legacy. Fly to your destiny. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Come to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the
Hello, Governors. Welcome to Osiris League Season 8 Playoff Group Stage, Round of 16. I'm your host, Plato Gaming caster and content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. And back to cast alongside me is content creator Brian Koo. Thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
Plato, good to be here. Thanks for having me. Chat, spectators, everybody in the community. We got a good one today. Glad to be here.
Indeed, we do have a good one because we are now in the first knockout stage, the round of 16, where each of the teams here is in a win or go home scenario against each other. Win-win to win it all, fighting for the crown of Osiris League champions. And in today's first match, we are casting in the realm of Horus LN93 from Kingdom 1393 versus 16 OT from Kingdom 1316. LN93 is the first seed in this matchup, going undefeated during the group stage, beating the likes of 07KT, 93P, and T30, while on the other side of the matchup, 16 OT is the second seed, going 2-1 in the group stage, losing their loss being against one of the favorites, 93T. So, Brian, what do you think of this matchup that we got going on right now?
Yeah, this is a really interesting matchup to me as someone who plays at the A Kingdom level, which is where these two kingdoms are at. These are two teams, these are two very old kingdoms, teams that have been around for a long time. LN93, I've actually fought against them in KVK before. They actually beat my kingdom a few months ago. But this is the first time they've actually made it to the final 16 in the realm of Horus. 16 OT made it to the final 16 last season, to the knockout stage. And so this is really an example of two kingdoms and two alliances who have lasted a long time in Rise of Kingdoms. They've stood the test of time. They've had a lot of KVK success. I think if we look at these two kingdoms, they both have a moon plus multiple stars next to their name. And, it's just an impressive, this is an impressive thing to do, to have this kind of longevity. And now they're sort of stepping up in the Osiris League, scene, and they're representing not only themselves, but they're representing the entire community that has built up around the kingdoms that they're in.
Yeah, Brian, as you were talking about that, I was looking at their banners here. I see a moon and 3 stars rather for LN93, meaning that they've have 8 Ziggurat captures, and they got 16 OT with the 4 stars and a moon representing 5 wins. So that's 9 wins capturing Ziggurat for 16 OT. And you said you versed LN93 in your KVK. We were allied with 16 OT last year in the KVK. So having some familiarity with these kingdoms is going to be super interesting. They have, as you said, stepped it up during KVK. Now we'll see if they can step it up in Osiris League today. So Brian, do you have any potential strategies that these teams might be using? Anything to look out for this match?
I think that LN93, when I played against them, they definitely have a lot of whales in that kingdom. At the same time, their movement in the open field was not amazing. That was sort of one of the things I remember about them, that their movement was not incredible. And so in this matchup, though they do have a significant power advantage, I think the mid is going to be just a real test here, where LN93 is going to look at the power and say, hey, we're 14-2 lifetime in KVK. Let's just go mid and beat these guys mid. 16 OT is going to say, we have a lot of skill. Let's see if our skill can win it for us mid. And it's going to be just another one of those clashes of, strength versus strategy. Or maybe in this case, it's going to be strength versus skill.
A tale as old as time, the powerful versus the skillful, according to Brian here. So, yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see. As you said, 16 OT being at 3.8 billion power. We have LN93 at 4.8, so a full billion power above their opponents in terms of fighting power here. We'll have to see if they'll be able to put that in their advantage. But yeah, it'll be super interesting. 1393. This is gonna be my first Osiris League match watching of them, and we'll see how they'll put that power to use. Have you seen anything with the past couple of matches that we've casted? Like, have you seen anything stand out with the new skills that we've been trying out this season?
I think a couple things have stood out. The biggest thing for me was that the 1093 team we cast last week, I think it was the Lazy Lions 93L. I thought it was very interesting that they did not use To the Death. It feels like they had it on their bar, but they just decided to use other skills instead. They used like Bog Down plus Dust Up on one key mid fight instead of To the Death. I thought that was very interesting. Like maybe To the Death is being undervalued a little bit by some of the really strong theory crafting teams. The other thing I think we're going to continuously watch out for is the use of energetic. We saw teams use it quite a bit 2 weeks ago, but have you been seeing every team use energetic on a steady clip? I feel like I'm just seeing it more. Some teams use it, some teams don't. So I think energetic and To the Death are maybe a couple of question marks, and then there's the top tier of Bog Down and Total Vision that everybody uses.
I've been seeing a lot of energetic usage as we get into the game here. Let me just make sure that we get into the game. I've been seeing energetic be used quite a bit here, where energetic is kind of used during the beginning of I feel like it gets used off cooldown, honestly, at the beginning of the match, and then, you know, a couple minutes before mid fight so that they get these points back. But as we get in the game here, we have LN93 being in the top left of the map, and we have 16 OT in the bottom right. We could go ahead and look at some of the powers here. You know, honestly, being at 3.8 million power, even though they're at a 1 billion power disadvantage, like, I feel like this is enough power to be pretty competitive in Osiris League setting. We could see most of these cities here at around 100 mil. You know, that's usually a good indicator of, you know, we have enough power. If we need to heal, we can.
Yeah, do you think it matters at all? Do you think this power gap matters at all?
I mean, I don't expect LN93 to be healing as much, but at the end of the day, when you're in the knockout stages of Osiris League, you have to be willing to make these sacrifices on your speed ups and all kind of stuff. You know, healing, even if you don't have the base power. So I don't think it'll matter too much between these two teams.
Yeah, the situation with these kingdoms in general is that LN93 is in KVK right now. They're doing the new Alliance Invictus format. I think there's been a little bit of fighting, but not a ton. And 1316 is in the off season, so they have plenty of speed ups, and they're probably itching to use them a little bit. Whereas you and I, of course, it pains us every time we have to heal our hospitals and use speed ups.
Indeed, Brian and I are currently in a truce because we're fighting each other in KVK. As the gates drop here, we see these speedy double C's, and as we talked about, energetic used at the beginning of the match for 16 OT. We'll have to see if it will be mirrored by LN93. As we look at the rallies here, we have 4 obelisks, 1 outpost for LN93. Meanwhile, we have 3 obelisks and 2 outposts from 16 OT.
It
So
must be the outposts. It looks like they're very impressive looking outposts on the rally screen there, where they almost look like altars. But
outposts,
Plato,
yes.
yeah. Plato and I are in a truce, but right before I logged into the match, Plato's alliance was rallying the fort that my city's next to. So, you know, I was hoping the truce would apply to everybody, but hopefully that rally goes well on our side.
There you go. We have the double C's walking over to these obelisks, trying to get these teleports as fast as possible.
Looks like on the bottom side, there's going to be no sentry collision. They both made very aggressive sentries on the opponent's side of the map, so neither of those will get spotted.
It is pretty interesting that LN93 here chose to use all 3 sentries kind of in a line. It's like a defensive line of vision where they could see both lanes and the middle lane as well, see if there's any shenanigans coming from OT here.
Yeah, so is 16 OT just got the 2 down right now, so they're just holding 1 back.
Yeah, they have the classic behind the pyramids here, and then they have the classic in between the obelisk and the desert altar here. So I don't see anything out of the ordinary between these two teams so far. It seems pretty standard. You could see all 4 lanes and their respective marches are going into position here. We see these outpost rallies coming out. We have 2 outposts from them. We have 1 outpost from them. So it should be walking out. I think one of the things that's interesting is, you know, the outpost focus within some teams. And you know, how much do you invest into that early in the game versus, you know, these sky altars and these shrines of wars? Because the outposts you get to instantly capture right away, right? Versus these structures, you know, you have a little bit of a wait. You could get some easy points, but then you're going to be taking away some marches from potentially capturing or holding a desert altar. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Outpost rallies passing each other in the mid, just saying hello to each other. It's sort of like morning commuters, you know, greeting the night shift as they go home. So outpost rallies going to both sides. I mean, Paul, did you think the enemy's going to take these outposts? I'm going to bet they do, probably. It's a little bit. I mean, you see 16OT is defending their outpost. Their middle outpost, 16OT, has 2 marches standing outside. They presumably have marches inside as well. So they're going to swarm down the LN93 outpost rally. But no real defense at the LN93 outposts. And yeah, they might get them.
All right, let us continue on with these altars. We have 70 seconds rather till these altars open, and it looks like both teams here murderballing in front of each other, waiting menacingly for these altars to open. And these first altar captures tend to be, you know, really important here, where you could potentially take away a solid 750 points and gain 750 points for yourselves. So that's why both of these teams, you know, this being an elimination game, the first round of the knockout stage, they are being really defensive and focused here, as we could see the murder ball starting to clash. We could look at some of the marches here. We see some Ashwabana Pauls. I see a Guan, some Joan of Arc. I see an Ethelfled. As we see these murder balls start to clash.
Yeah, lots of Huos as well. Huo William, certainly a march that we see a lot of in KVK, and a wide open KVK with a lot of, you know, farmer killing and running around and movement being at a premium. Huo William definitely, I would say, has moved up the tier list over time. Just a really useful march, both in KVK and in Ark of Osiris. You've got the speed in Ark of Osiris, which is always useful, and in KVK you've got that beautiful slow that just can devastate people from time to time.
Yeah, movement speed is king in KVK, but especially in Osiris League, where you have to get from place to place as fast as possible. As we start to see LN93 actually taking the first tap of 16OT's Desert Altar. It looks like for their Desert Altar, 16OT was able to get the first tap, but I think they have control of both of them in terms of open field support. Looking pretty strong for 16, or for LN93 rather here.
Yeah, you know, I think at the Desert Altar that we're looking at, LN93 did get the first tap, but it looks to me like in most of the zones, it was pretty even in most zones as far as how many marches were allocated to those zones. And even at this Desert Altar, it looks to me like, you know, LN93 did not put enough there for them to hold this for the first capture, right? They just have nothing left in the field. And so 16OT is just going to walk back to this Desert Altar. They likely have a rally up on it. And I think it looks like first capture. I think all these teams are going to capture their own buildings for the first capture.
Well, hopefully for 16OT, they could come back to the Desert Altar. They have 1:50 left. They do have a lot of marches coming through, and it does look like these LN93 marches are trying to sad face back for this mid fight. We have 5 minutes 45 seconds until Arc spawns, so you'll see a lot of marches, you know, when you're kind of low and around this time, you know, sad face your march so you could go home as fast as possible, refresh as fast as possible, and then start walking mid. So it looks like LN93, as you were saying, Brian, is they will not be able to hold this Desert Altar most probably here, as we start to see the 16OT assault. At the same time though, they can make it pretty painful to hold this or to capture this, where the marches that are going to be swarming the structure might be low, and then they will have to take the walk of shame or walk to mid not fully healthy. So I feel like it could still pay a little bit for LN93 just being able to be as annoying as possible for this Desert Altar. But I don't know, man. There's 45 seconds. I would start being nervous if at 16 OT for these first capture points.
Yeah, I would get nervous at this point. LN93 has... It's interesting, actually. LN93 has sent marches to both inside lanes rather than going straight mid. And so they are contesting this Desert Altar. It looks like 16OT is going to get it back. But, you know, that they managed to get a Harrow YSS into that garrison. And Harrow YSS absolutely softened up some of these 16OT marches before they go middle.
I mean, they're kind of healthy, but, you know, maybe these little... You take any advantage that you can, right? Like, you take as much as... you try to chunk out as much as your opponents as possible, as we could start to see 16OT having the first mid rotation, but it is completely seen by LN93 with this sentry here. LN93,
that ended up being a very nice sentry there. They got a lot of value from it. Right
on top of the murder ball, so they could see exactly, you know, what marches are being brought to this mid area here. So yeah, it looks like both teams will be going for a kind of mid push. We could look at all the other structures. All the other structures did get first occupation. I think Shrine of War and Desert Altar are possibly the two structures that still have first occupation, but it looks like LN93 will not be going for those structures. And it looks like it'll be a mid versus mid. An interesting and fun first mid fight to be had here in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing, I'm seeing maybe more Ethels than I've seen in previous matches from LN93. I mean, at least I've seen at least 3 of them coming mid here. Ethel it's really amazing that Ethel mid is still a thing. Are they putting Trajan behind the Ethel? What do you think is behind some of these Ethel floods these days?
I do know Ethel Trajan is typical. I'd have to see one of these Ethel floods. You said LN. Oh, I can't see.
Yeah, I see a few.
They're like murderballed on top of each other. It's hard to see the secondary commander.
Oh yeah, I have not developed those skills as a caster yet to be able to look at the commanders on the screen and be able to tell who it is.
I can tell you this is Sepia Luce.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting, like, you know, speaking of Luce and speaking of Ethel and Trajan, you know, one of the differences between KVK and Osiris League is that in Osiris League, the trades don't matter. The trades are now what's important. It's really about how much damage you do while you're out there, how much damage you collectively do as a team to accomplish your objective. And the trade, it's about the damage. It's not about the trade. And that's why we see Ethel being, you know, one of 5 marches that these top players are bringing out, is because, you know, Trajan Ethel might trade bad, but they do a lot of value. What do we got here? Little action on the sides.
We see the Desert Altar. They're trying to contest the Desert Altar for first occupation rewards here. But we got 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2. It looks like 16 OT will be able to get their first occupation for the Desert Altar. Just in time. Just in time. So they're able to hold off long enough. You could tell because the points are very even here. So they were able to get first occupation there for the Desert Altar, which is huge. But in the meanwhile, the Desert Altar will be taken by LN93 during this potential mid-fight, as we start to see both of these teams start to go into each other. But we could see, even if it's a status quo right now, LN93 with 4 altars is huge. The points per minute going significantly in their favor, 680 to 260. So in this situation where LN93 is kind of doing a 1093 approach, even though that's the wrong 93, taking these altars, taking some structures while this mid fight is happening.
Early dust up cast by LN93, almost like they're trying to hide from the much larger 16OT murder ball mid.
There you go.
It's worked so far. They have not attacked into it yet, but I think they found him.
this situation is where 16OT kind of have to win this arc, or else they're going to be in a very bad situation. Losing structures and losing arc would be super bad. We see a bog down from both teams. We see the Venn diagram coming in for these two teams.
Yeah, identical skills cast mid, dust up plus bog down for both teams. If LN93 can win this mid, it'll be a real demoralizing blow for 16OT. 16OT had the numbers advantage, and looks like they're winning. A lot of sad faces on LN93 side.
Yeah, we could go ahead and look at the sad face monitor here. A lot of them coming from LN93. LN93 trying to save the situation with an extra skill Heaven's Grace used. And we see total vision in response from 16OT. So I think 16OT, from the sad faces alone, have this arc, which is exactly what they needed.
Yeah,
LN93 was able to get first pull though. Was able to get first pull though. But yeah, as you said, it's a consolation prize for all of the structures as the mid fight ends here. But all of the structures, the map is super blue, especially this early on in the game. We could go ahead and look at Sky Altar is
maybe
generating points.
Top lane is a good example. LN93 doesn't just have these buildings, but they have, really nice open field presence in these outside lanes. So like 16OT, they have a rally coming to this building. They have an attack on this topside Sky Altar, but boy, it's gonna be a tough attack here. I mean, if this Sky Altar is full, which I imagine is probably close to full, it's gonna be a tough retake. Just a retake on this one building looks fairly challenging at this point. But it's going to be a close fight in that Sky Altar.
This top side of the map is fully blue. Sky Altar generating points, Shrine of War is generating points, but it looks like from their mid rotation, they're going to be going to the Shrine of War. Shrine of Life will start generating points in 40 seconds. So we could go ahead and look. 820 to 40, Brian. 40 points per minute.
New world record for lowest points output.
Only their obelisks.
An Osiris League match.
Only their obelisks, Brian, are generating points. So
one outpost, or I think there's one outpost, right?
Not yet. The outpost.
Now it's not generating points.
Now is generating points. So now they're up to 70. But 40 points per minute is crazy. We could see that the score is up 2K and growing. When you're losing by points per minute that much, it makes you question this all mid strategy from OT versus LN with LN93 with these rotations, which, they're going these structures. They went mid. They contested it. They showed their presence, but that was a ruse. That was a distraction to show, hey, we got the Sky Altar, we got the Shrine of Life, we had the Shrine of War for a little bit, we had the Desert Altar for a little bit. They're just disrupting the point game from 16OT and gaining points from their opponent's structures to where they were able to create such an advantage to where 16OT is probably questioning, like, okay, for the next mid fight, what do we do?
Yeah, what do you do? Because, at the end of the day, LN93 did not allocate all that much to the sides. I mean, their ball mid was still significant. It almost was like maybe 8 to 10 marches on a lot of these lanes, managed to take all these buildings. And, what's interesting now is that LN93 is really pushing hard at some of these buildings. They're actually on the attack now at the LN93 Desert Altar, and they're doing it with half-health marches that were fighting mid. And, you often see these they're actually putting in a lot of work. 16OT's marches from mid are putting in a lot of work. On the top side, they took their own Shrine of War back, and then they still had health, and so now they're going all the way to the LN93 Desert Altar. So, it's a momentum game, and there are, just because LN93 took the structures once doesn't mean that they just get to control the map forever. You're seeing 16OT exert like a lot of momentum off of this mid win, and it's going to be a kind of a back and forth thing here for a minute.
Yeah, I would say the game stays pretty much even. If and when 16OT capture this arc, there'll be 3K points, the differential being 2.9K right now. So trading the arc for these structures, as you said, really generated a lot of points while 16OT was in mid. But now 16OT was able to capture the arc.
Ethelfled rally on the LN93 Desert Altar. That's pretty wild.
LN93 Desert Altar.
The top side, on the
rally.
top side. Oh, it was a transport rally. A transport rally to get him to this fight.
Oh, wow.
I guess
There you
Ethel
go.
has a lot of march speed. Ethel's got a lot of march speed, so
Yeah.
learn something new. You think it's like the cow counter rallies, but the Ethel allows you to send mixed troops, I guess.
We start to see teams pop energetic off cooldown yet again. And yeah, 16OT was able to flip the situation. Now the question is, for the next mid fight, will they go full mid again, or will they start allocating and some of the marches to defend their structures for the next mid fight? Because, you know, you kind of have to be... I think for both teams, you're happy with where you are. 16OT now winning in the points per minute. They do have 3 of the 4 altars. Again, altars being the main point of contention here because it generates the most points per minute in Osiris League in terms of structures. 150 points per minute compared to shrines, which generate 80 points per minute, and outposts, which generates 30 points per minute. So yeah, I would be interested to see, you know, how if they choose to change their plan, if they're like, hey, we'll sack our structures for a little bit. The arcs are going to be worth more and more points going on into the game. And, you know, if they try to play this again, then we're going to take this trade every time, because we know after the mid fight, we could just swing around and take these structures. But as you said, Brian, it's like a pendulum, right? Where it goes back and forth, back and forth. Now you could look at the map and, hey, LN93 is happy because they have 3 altars. So what do you think of the game state right now, Brian? And which side would you rather be in terms of if you had to pick a game state for either side?
Well, that's really the operative question there. Which side would you rather be? That's the tougher question. I think the game state is that 16OT is giving their point of view on it, which is that they are holding the arc, and they're saying that they're comfortable playing a side game with LN93. LN93 hasn't really proven that they can win the side game. They just attacked the sides when 16OT went mid. You know what? I guess I just have to give it to LN93, right? I think they've shown coordination. I think they've shown a good level of coordination here. I know in the chat we had a poll up, who's going to win the match. 16OT got 62%, and I may have bet on 16OT, you know, a few minutes ago, or voted for them a few minutes ago. But at this point, I just think LN93's like shown enough coordination that I would favor their side.
You could see the low marches hitting first, so they could sad face before the rally hits. That's a pretty interesting strategy. We see a bunch of marches in, you know, kind of covering the desert altar so that they can't reinforce from this rally, which I believe is still approaching. There's a little bit of a graphical glitch here. But yeah, we could start to see that LN93 really focusing on taking these structures not only with the swarms, but waiting for the rallies and then swarming so that the rally could tank the main damage from the garrisons and the swarmers could just deal damage.
Yeah,
as we
Henry
get-
Asher or Asher Henry rally on this desert altar. Asher doing a mix of normal attack damage and skill damage, sort of a nicely balanced commander. Henry giving you that counterattack damage and a tanky aspect. And, you know, actually this is interesting. They switched it up, and now they're using Asher Zoo.
Young, yeah.
Yeah, a different rally.
I think because of the open field that they had, and they thought that they could, you know, dissuade the 16OT individuals from swarming the rally. The Asher Zhuge Liang actually does a lot more damage, but is a lot more swarmable. That's the trade-off between Asher Zhuge Liang and Asher Henry. Unfortunately for them, 16OT was able to get open field marches, and they were able to sad face the rally, so able to defend their desert altar here. And the structures are pretty much even. You could see that the points per minute is going towards 16OT because the Sky Altar was just recaptured. So overall, if we take into account the Ark of Osiris that they're holding,
they're ahead.
They are ahead
by a little bit.
Yep.
They are ahead by a little bit. On the top side, what we're seeing from LN93 at the Desert Altar is that they just played defense. They just stood in the field. They played defense. 16OT attacked into them. A rally just died a moment ago, and And now are they going to play defense again? I mean, it doesn't look like they have too much of an advantage here, but they literally just chilled and played defense on this desert altar. So you do see like it's still tentative. It's not like LN93 feels like, oh, we took their buildings and we turned the map blue earlier on. It's not like we just have this huge edge. I think both teams are feeling like this is a very close matchup, actually.
It is pretty interesting because by OT holding the arc, they're saying, hey, you guys had our buildings, but we are confident in our building game. We are confident that we can hold our buildings to the point where the only differential will be this Ark of Osiris. You know what I mean? Because if they wanted to go mid and they wanted to continue going this mid route, they would have captured the Ark a long time ago. They would have been able to, you know, spawn maybe a third, maybe a fourth Ark. But if you're holding for about 10 minutes now, you're saying, hey, we can hold our structures. We want to make sure that these arcs matter as much as possible, because the more arcs you capture, the less each arc means, if that makes sense, because you have more arcs, meaning that, you know, it's a less percentage of the total amount of points each arc is, because, you know, you just have more arcs available. But 16OT is like, hey, we can hold our structures, and it's proving correct. They're able to hold the desert altar, they're able to hold the sky altar, and the map state is essentially even. You can start to see that the only differential is that they have an outpost of LN93. So we'll have to see if LN93 will be able to break through their defense here.
Yeah, this is the point in the map, or in the match, where you start looking for gatherers and you start wondering how many gatherers the other team has, because it is just close. And like you said, there's going to be very few arcs. You know deep down that the mid fights are going to be incredibly consequential. But, you know, let's say there's 3 arcs and they both get one of the next 2. It comes down to gathering. It comes down to, you know, slight changes in who controls what buildings. It comes down to you know, outpost harass. Let's see if so it looks like the outposts are being defended. You know, 16OT just took the middle outpost for LN93, but it was defended. It was like it was a one-on-one duel between a full Joan Nevsky and a full XY Justinian. As predicted, Joan Nevsky won that one, but, you know, highly contested outposts, and obviously at the big altars there's some heavy fighting as well.
Yeah, I mean, they have outpost rallies going consistently, which is how 16OT has been able to capture these outposts. Sky Altar taken by 16OT as well. So if I were to say, oh, lost the control of Ark of Osiris.
Let's see here.
No way.
Okay, so yeah, so LN93 is going to get the Ark. So this means that they reset the timer. Is that correct?
The timer reset. The timer reset.
Okay. Well, I hope that obelisk is. Well, it'd be funny if it was not full. Actually, I think it'd be kind of. But it looks like the obelisk is full enough. You got the double C garrison.
Oh my gosh.
Switching to a Joan. I mean, boy,
if they had massive strategies,
harder.
If they had massive strategies to master strategy this arc out, that would have been play of the game. But yeah, it does look crazy. Like 16OT.
That's why you put master strategy on the toolbar. You know, I mean, for this situation.
But yeah,
so this now becomes a 2-arc game. If 16OT wants it to be a 2-arc game, and they win the next arc, they can make it a 2-arc game. So we could literally be at the 20 minutes left in this match. We could still only have 1 arc be captured. So. Pretty interesting play by LN93 there. Plot, did you think it was a good play to disrupt that arc and reset the countdown?
Well, you could see the amount of marches that were allocated to setting, you know, going to that arc. I don't know if it was a good play, but as you said,
hit march.
Yeah, you just try it out. I think if they were able to capture that obelisk, that would have been a crazy arc steal. That's why when you're holding arc as LN93 out of that pressure, able to take the sky altar back, that's why when you're holding arc, you never want to hold it next to the obelisk, because you can actually capture the arc in any of these cities. So if you're standing right here outside this outer area right next to an allied city, you could still capture the arc really safely while also not allowing your opponents to be right next to the obelisk to capture the arc from you. Fortunately for 16 OT, it didn't matter in this context, but I mean, that was pretty close for an arc steal there, as we start to see these structures continuing to flip. This Desert Altar being the only Desert Altar generating points for either team right now, so the points per minute super low, 230 to 440.
Yeah, heavy LN pressure coming onto this this Desert Altar. It definitely looks fairly low, and they're actually even rotating from the outside lane. LN93, Ting Beth, and some other players from the outside lane are coming over here to help out at this Desert Altar, try to just disrupt the points. Point differential is really hard to come by at this point in the match. Neither team really able to get an advantage, so you see LN93 just focusing all their effort on the bottom side to try and just disrupt this Desert Altar. I don't even think they hope to hold it. They just want to stop 16OT from getting points for a while. But you know, the Hera YSS holding up really strong in this garrison. You know, this is end game play where you build the leadership set, and it just is so useful at various times in this game to have a big leadership set on the Hera YSS garrison.
The Valiant Stand also used by 16OT on this Desert Altar. So they're like, hey, we know you want this Desert Altar, but we're going to be using skills. We're going to be sending marches. Both teams here sending out their kitchen sink and more for this Desert Altar, but it looks like 16OT will be able to hold. They were able to insta-swarm that rally. They still have more open field marches. And when you see open field marches around a structure, at least for a good team, you know that the structure is pretty safe because they could just march swap and fill with the marches outside of the structure. So march swapping in this situation would be, in Ark of Osiris, you could only fill a structure with one march per person. But when your march is low inside of a structure, what you can do is you can send one of your healthy marches that are out in the open field into the structure to replace your low march that's within the structure. So it just continuously, you're able to kind of send fresh troops into the structure, which is why, you know, I'm pretty confident with 16OT with the amount of open field marches that they have here in holding the structure, even though there is another rally coming into, I believe, this Desert Altar, unless it's going to an outpost. Yeah, I think this is...
yeah, I'm looking for it on my screen where this rally is. Oh, it looks like it's going past. Oh, Tariq, it's gotta be for the Desert Altar. Yep, there's Tariq.
Yep.
So a fresh rally on this beleaguered Desert Altar that's been holding strong. Incredible value for 16OT got great value for Valiant Stand. You can see the countdown of it on the altar. I think it's like a 2-minute skill, something like that. They still have another 70, 80 seconds on this Valiant Stand. And, you know, I would say, Plato, at this point, maybe a bit of a poor choice of skills in this match for LN93. I mean, if they had Master Strategy, they would have stolen the first arc. They don't have Teardown. They may or may not have Valiant Stand. And, you know, in this match where, like, the points are really hard to come by, it's hard to get an edge, you're seeing how the use of Valiant Stand by 16OT is making a real difference. Whereas on the LN93 side, they've only shown 4 skills. They haven't even used the other 2 they picked.
What do you think of the Tariq Bakal rally?
Okay, listen, you know, Plato, we're in a Artifact KBK, so we're seeing like a higher level of rallies, but I always liked the Tariq Bakal rally. It's very stable. You know, it doesn't go down quickly, so you can, like, it's easier for people to reinforce this rally. It's
a lot harder
easier
to
to
swarm.
keep it full.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot harder to swarm. And so it's like, it sort of like sets the stage for the swarmers. It takes the heat from the garrison and from some of the enemy marches around there. You know, I think it's interesting. I think it's cool to see it. It's really cool to see it because you don't see it a ton in high-level Ark of Osiris these days. But, you know, it was even just 6-8 months ago, and certainly a year ago, the Tariq Bakal rally ruled this Ark of Osiris map.
Yeah, I think this is the first time I've seen an infantry rally in Ark of Osiris this season. But Tariq Bakal, I mean, all the other rallies for LN93 were just getting swarmed down instantly. This Tariq Bakal has probably been the longest standing rally I've seen so far. We see Valiant Stand actually expired, so LN93 has been aggressing on this Desert Altar for so long that Valiant Stand expired for 16OT. But I still think 16OT will be able to hold this. In the meanwhile, 16OT was able to take the Sky Altar. LN93 took the 16OT Sky Altar for a little bit, but just got recaptured. So we could start to see the points per minute. We were talking about, the Ark was also captured, by the way. The Ark was captured about a minute ago.
Captured, and so 6 minutes until the next Ark, and that's on everybody's mind for sure.
Yeah, I think this next Ark is going to mean a lot. 16OT, it'll practically mean for them, securing this game. And for LN93, it'll be their pathway back.
Yeah, I think this is one of those matches. Boy, this is one of those matches where I think you say, everybody go mid. You just say everything is on this. Everything comes down to this next mid fight. That would be my call, right? I would just say everything mid, cancel all rallies, empty most buildings, and just send everything mid, and that's what the match comes down to. Sometimes it's later in the match that happens, but I think it's kind of clear in this match that for the most part, it's all on this last mid fight.
Yeah, this last mid fight. I mean, there is still a chance that There's a chance that it might not be a last minute fight if a team decides to instantly capture it and then we have an 8-minute cooldown. But yeah, this next mid fight is going to be so important for both teams. As we said, 16OT have a chokehold of this game. They've been winning the occupation score. They caught up rather with the occupation score. Where LN93, we were talking about LN93 having 820 points per minute and 16OT having 40 points per minute. And it's been pretty much even to where 16OT was actually gaining more points per minute than LN93 in that moment. We could start to see LN93 taking a whole different approach. This time, they are the first team going mid. This time, they're saying, hey, we need to win this mid fight.
Yeah, and what I'm looking for mid here is the vision game. Because as both teams started going to middle, neither team had a sentry down. And it's shaky. You have to place a good sentry, because if you place it too aggressively and the enemy sees it, they're just going to kill it, and you're not going to have vision, and that makes a huge difference. LN93 placed the first ward mid, and it's lasted so far, and still a lot of action on the sides. But 16OT still does not have vision mid. They still have not placed a sentry. I think what they're wanting to do is get to this temple and place it there, but they're seeing LN93 there. So the vision game, a really big factor here for this mid fight that's coming up in 3.5 minutes.
I do see a lot of 16OT marches around the Sky Altar. So we might have a flip situation, Brian, where last mid fight, LN93 was the team that was, hey, let's take these structures so that we have a backup plan just in case we don't win this mid fight. 16OT is saying, hey, we're comfortable with our lead. We have 2.5k differential right now. Let's just take these structures. Let's send these marches. These marches are not going to be at mid. We have 3 minutes left. These marches are pretty low. It would pretty much take them 2 minutes alone for them to walk to mid. So with that in mind, these marches are going to be out of play.
That's a big flip. It's a big flip.
But it is a huge flip for them, as this mid fight, it looks like it's like
kicking off. Yeah, it's kicking off.
We have the 16OT go back plan. Meanwhile, LN93 is saying, hey, they just took our altar. We saw how many marches are there. That means we should have numbers advantage. So they're looking to go in early here. No skills. Was Dust Up used? I don't see Dust Up.
I don't think any skills have been used yet. I think the Dust Up was much earlier.
Yeah.
And so a few things to point out about this mid fight. First of all, no vision for 16OT. They have no vision at all. LN93 has perfect vision. The enemy ball is literally standing right on their sentry. The other thing is there's 2 skills from LN93 that we haven't seen. I have to imagine one of these skills is to the death. I have to imagine it is. It's probably Dust Up and Total Vision, quite frankly, or to the death and Total Vision. And this is a great position to use to the death in, because they are standing at the temple. The enemy is going to have to walk into them, and you can just very nicely cast to the death as the enemy engages you. You get just like insane value. They're not going to run away. So, LN90 or 16OT flipped the Sky Altar. That's all they've really flipped.
And the
That's
obelisk.
And the obelisk. And the obelisk.
They got the obelisk.
Yeah. So they're going to have it's going to be about a 3,500 point lead, which is how much the arc is worth, and LN93 is in a very good position to take the arc.
We are starting to see those outer lane marches that sad faced start walking back, so they might actually, be the late reinforcements for this mid fight. LN93, they're gonna be in a interesting spot here, where now they're the ones with the marches out in this sky altar. Will that be punished by OT? I think OT.
Yeah,
we could see that pretty much every single one of OT's marches. These are the marches at Sadface, by the way, from the sky altar. So if you look at the dots, pretty much I don't see any red dots anywhere outside of this sky altar in the top and mid. So it looks like it's going to be a full commit from 16OT here. And we saw last mid fight, they were able to dominate LN93. We'll have to see if LN93, with all of their marches mid as well, will they be able to hold this structure? Will they be able to hold this temple, rather?
Yep. And, Plato, you spoke about people hopping in. Looks like you spoke about people, hopping into structures, flipping garrisons. Skill's starting to get cast now, but
bogged down to the death.
Yep. Lots of skills being cast mid by both teams. They're dumping their entire 10-point energy bar. But, a lot of individual skill is involved in this Arc of Osiris game mode. These marches from 16OT, they took the Sky Altar on the outside, they came to mid on time, and now they have to perform in this big open field fight. Some people are in dot mode, some people are in, zoomed in mode, and it's just who has the stronger accounts, who has the stronger players are here, and that's going to determine who wins this match.
LN93, in my opinion, looks like they're getting cleared. Look at the sad faces coming from LN93. We are starting to see some 16OT. It's not completely over.
They died. That was a
Arc
machine gun of
Arc
sad
did spawn.
faces.
So if LN's able to get a pull, it might be fine. If LN's able to get a pull, but there are marches on their double C already. They got a little bit of a pull on their side, but
consolation prize. Getting the first capture there was a consolation prize. 16OT cleaning up this mid fight very cleanly.
16OT absolutely clearing LN93, and that was both teams essentially having their full team mid. That wasn't LN saying, hey, we're gonna take the sky altar, we're gonna take the, they do have some people at the desert altar. I'm guessing these people at the desert altar were the same people that were taking back the sky altar.
They were. This is absolutely the people who took back the sky altar, then they rotated over. They were not at the mid fight.
So
for LN93, and equal skills, exact same skills cast by both teams to the death and bogged down, and 16OT just won it.
16OT just showing their open field prowess here, and now if you're LN93, they're doing exactly what they need to do. They're all right. We lost mid. Let's try to take this arc.
Yep, trying to flank them as the arc heads towards the Shrine of War. They do have fresh marches. LN93 does have fresh marches, and they're moving at a pretty good clip here. Actually, lots of cav. Everybody just throwing the calves out. I see a double C in the field actually. So they're just trying to get to this arc as quickly as possible. And
go.
Oh, they're redirecting. Actually, 16OT is redirecting the arc to the bottom side, where they've had so much success recently. These 16OT players on the bottom side are very busy, right? Mm-hmm. They take the Sky Altar, they go mid, they win the mid fight for their team, and now they have to defend against a very massive LN93 flank from both sides.
We see this double C's. Save the double C. This arc means a game for both of these guys.
They are gumming this thing up. LN93 is gumming up this arc right now. It's on the wrong side of the map, but boy, LN93 has the field advantage here for sure.
You could see just everyone beelining. We're getting hit by a march. We don't care. We need to get to this arc. We need to disrupt this arc. And we need to somehow steal it for us to even have a chance in this game. We could see that they're down by about 3.3k points at this point. 3.4. They need this arc to come back, which is why they're desperately sending everything to this arc. We start to see 16OT marches start to attack the marches on the way to the arc, but LN93 just sending everyone to this arc. Arc was dropped, so 16OT still having some, presence here. But as you said, 16OT, these are the leftovers from the first fight. This is still stock 1, while LN93, this is stock 2 for them. This is their new marches here. We'll have to see if they'll be able to, snipe this arc away from 16OT, because 16OT, the marches that were there were pretty low.
Yeah, big grab by Harrow here to get that contested dropped arc. Harrow was actually the person who was holding the arc, the previous arc, so a couple of good grabs by Harrow there. At this point, I think those quote unquote fresh LN93 marches,
they're getting
are no
attacked.
longer fresh, right?
Yeah,
they've been fighting at this arc, and even the ones now that are marching there are just getting hit on the way. It was a good effort by LN93, but the arc just got dragged so far that now
Harrow again.
Is so close.
Harrow coming up with these pulls. These pulls could make or break your game. If LN93 was able to get a clean pull to their side, there could have been a case. But because it's so close to this bottom, it's so the walk for these cities is what, 30 seconds away compared to LN93. They gotta walk a full minute 30 essentially. LN93, they're like, yeah, we need this arc. We're using our skills, using dust up here, and they were able to get a pull.
Yep. And as this is happening, as LN93 is running towards this arc, and 16OT is just throwing everything at the arc, we are seeing LN93 take some of their buildings. They've taken the Shrine of War on the top side, and after a very, very long fight at the Desert Altar, with, I believe, another Tariq Pakal rally.
Yeah.
Not sure if there was a rally on there, but they also have taken the Desert Altar from 16OT. So the points, they're doing the part where if they win the arc, they can come back in the match. But unfortunately, the arc is very firmly in 16OT's control now.
Yeah, 16OT is like, all right, you can have those extra points. You can have those points because we're going to take this arc, we're going to hold this arc, and we're just going to make sure that there's no way you can come back in this game.
Yeah, sentry down from LN93. They're going to get to see this whole march to victory that 16OT is going to do. They've actually got 2 sentries near the 16OT cities, but
yeah, it's
all they can do is watch,
Yeah, they have the sentries all over the place. The eyes, essentially, of their arc going to the opponent's city here. I mean, we saw every skill but one from LN93. I don't know if they have master strategies. I don't know if they could somehow steal an arc, but it is looking very, very favored towards 16OT. They look very, very comfortable here. And all that came down to was their mid dominance. I feel like in this match, straight up 16OT was able to beat LN93's marches, right? Like the quality of 16OT's marches in terms of just maybe it's a micro, maybe they're able to target marches better. But for both mid fights, especially that second one where LN93 brought everyone and the kitchen sink mid except for maybe one and a half players, they were able to just absolutely dominate, absolutely sad face LN93 in that straight up 1v1 in that mid fight, which, I think that also translates to the structures, right? Where when 16OT was holding structures, are they going to capture this arc, by the way? Oh no, they're walking past it. Okay. And that's exactly what they need to do. When 16OT was holding the arc, 16OT was able to get more of an advantage from occupation and catch up in occupation score compared to LN93.
Yeah, I think overall, what you're diagnosing is that 16OT just had the stronger fighting power, right? I mean, it was close. It was close early on because of sort of the cool, effective things. Yeah, the maneuvering, the effective maneuvering that LN93 did. But at the end of the day, 16OT won the key fights. And, Plata, we're in KVK. You're part of SV68, which has, you have a number of very, very strong players in your kingdom where they just have 7 marches of all legendary equipment, with great armaments. There are in all alliances there are certain players who are, the strongest group. And it's entirely possible that these players on the bottom side for 16OT, the players who took the Sky Altar, went mid, turned that fight, they just might be like the huge players for 16OT. And it's a little bit hard to tell as you're watching the match. You don't really see that strength manifesting itself in real time. But they might just be these very massive whales that make a difference. The name Tiger. Tiger's is second in scoring for 16OT, and I've seen Tiger on the bottom side of the map quite a bit. So, I think they probably just had some real heavy hitters on this bottom side. And, listen, I speak from experience. Heavy hitters make a huge difference in this game, and you feel it when you're fighting against them.
All right, there you go. And yeah, we see the Joan of Arc rally going to this obelisk. So they're trying to at least pressure a capture here. They're like, okay, let's try to capture this obelisk. Let's try to take this arc. Because if they pressure the arc carrier to capture early, then there would be a last arc, potentially. But we are so close to the end of the game here that even if there is a last arc, you might not be able to capture it at this point. Because 16OT, they can capture this arc whenever they want to. All they have to do is pop back into the city here. But they're confident in saying, hey, we just swarmed down the obelisk. They literally have every single one of their bottom lane marches essentially around the obelisk here. Just saying, hey, well, all we got to do is deny this arc, and we essentially win the game here. And deny this arc, and deny a third arc from spawning, rather. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, Harrow's styling on him a little bit here with a very low health double C. It's not like he's playing it safe, right? He's just standing near the obelisk. He's standing near a building that the enemy could theoretically capture and steal this arc. But he's surrounded by lots and lots of teammates. So, yeah, doing a little dance over there with the double C before they book the win. More Tariq Pakal rallies. And Plato, it's interesting. I actually saw some Tariq Pakal rallies on the top side from LN93 as well. I think they actually just won. They took the enemy's Sky Altar with a Tariq Pakal rally. So LN93 leaned quite heavily on that. And now they have the Xeno and the Garrison. The one nice thing about the Tariq Pakal is you can throw an infantry Garrison in there. And it's interesting, we're seeing the Tariq Pakal here. There was a moment in time where we saw a different infantry rally in at least, normal size arc matches, which was the Gorgo Lucci. We would see the Gorgo Lucci rally, and then that also became the Garrison, right? You could rally with it, and then it just became your Garrison captain if you took the building. Did you not see that in your level of regular arc matches?
I did not see Gorgo Lucci on my arc matches, but
we saw quite a bit of that for about a month or two.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. The normal damage for those two commanders combining just make them, such a good pair. Which is why, that's one of the goated open field marches right now. As we talk about Gorgo and the Garrison for LN93.
Yeah, it was probably part of that Tariq Pakal rally, just sitting in there.
And that's the thing about these teams, right? Where usually people swarm down the rally because there's usually a Garrison captain or two inside of the rally. Because walking up a Garrison, especially a Gorgo, which is infantry, is super tedious. But when you're hidden within a rally, you get the march speed, you can't get targeted down, and then when the rally takes, you just instantly swap to your Garrison. That's how you have these forward these forward Garrisons in your opponent's structures here. But it does look like LN93 was sad-faced outside of this Desert Altar, and just 16OT just making sure, hey, we captured the arc. There will not be, let me just check, there will not be a third arc. So there has to be somehow 4K provisions or
take over the map, somehow magically take over the map. Yeah, it's master strategy, right? Maybe they needed the master strategy earlier. Even if they didn't use it earlier, you want to just have the master strategy in case it's desperate times like now. But it's interesting to look at LN93 doing these infantry rallies, using the Gorgo, because being in war, Plato, you and I are seeing a lot of normal damage, right? We're seeing normal damage be like a very, very big part of our KVK. We're seeing normal attack damage focused garrisons and rallies. But I think in Ark of Osiris, in this match in particular, we really saw that this is still a skill damage game, right? Ark is still a skill damage game. You know, the Tariq Bakal rally, the first one we pointed to, that one didn't do that well, right? They ignored the rally and they just cleared out the
swarmers.
They just cleared out the field. Yeah, they just cleared out the field. And what we saw mid from 16OT in that last Arc fight was just a lot of skill damage. I mean, you just don't kill marches that quickly with normal attack damage. It was a burst of skill damage, a burst of AoE, tons of marches on wedge formation, and that's what ruled the day for 16OT in this match. Now, listen, would those same marches do great in the war that we're fighting right now? I don't know. They might not get great trades all the time, especially when, against a normal attack garrison. But in Ark of Osiris, skill damage, wedge formation, AoE, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, we could see the formations here. Pretty much everyone's just using wedge. I see a bunch of triangles on the open field. No. And also another thing we're seeing is that we're seeing teams actually choose different rallies, right? We saw both Asher Zug and Asher Henry for 16OT. We saw infantry rallies from LN93, and then in other matches we've seen Justinian Nevsky rallies. We saw, I believe it was 1093 really leaned heavily on the speed of the Justinian Nevsky rallies and that burst skill damage. So there's still the meta is a little bit fluid at the moment in terms of what people are choosing to use as their main rallies and their main garrisons. In this match, we saw Hera YSS from both teams. That's very surprisingly, that has been the preferred garrison for most teams. But we're also seeing Jan Ziskas quite a bit, and I believe I even saw footage from the Chinese Osiris League where Eleanor was being used in garrison. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if the new commanders will be for this playoffs. Perhaps the grand finals, just because they will be released in the middle of this knockout stage. But you could see that, yeah, there's just been a lot of, as we were talking about earlier, the leadership garrisons are so good. You could just fill anything with the leadership garrison, which is the main reason why people use it. But yeah, it's just been a lot. Talking about the game here, it's just been a lot of 16OT dominance here. Later on in the stage here, 4 or 3 altars rather. I think they've been trying to attack this sky altar. They have a Joan of Arc garrison in there.
Yeah, I will say that LN93 has been gathering. Like, maybe there's they had at least one dedicated gatherer the whole match, and now they're gathering a lot. But I'm sure 16OT is also gathering. I can't imagine one dedicated gatherer can make up a 3k point. I know a gathering has been buffed. Actually, LN93 has probably already returned those gatherers. You see, they already have a 3k provision score on LN93.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that dedicated gatherer has already turned their resources in. So that was their last hope. Sorry to dash it in the way I just did, but yeah.
Yeah, it's it was a great try. 3k gathering is actually a lot of points. Like, I think gathering in most of these matches is pretty underrated. We saw 1E8 in Anubis just win matches. Pretty much like all their matches were close, but I think they won up to 2 matches perhaps via gathering difference like that. So gathering could have played a difference if they captured that first arc when they stole it. Perhaps the game would be different. Right now it's like literally a 3k differential right now. But yeah, it's looking rougher and rougher and rougher for LN93, and it's looking like 16OT have this in the bag. How do you think of 16OT's chances in Horus moving forward after this match?
Boy, I'm tempted to want to look at the bracket to see how they do. I mean, I think that LN93 was probably, boy, you're testing me on how much I know about this realm at the moment, and having tier list the team. We need to tier list all these teams, but I feel like they could maybe advance one more match, but probably not more than that. But how many tough teams are there really in Horus? I mean, they're worried about 1093, and who else are they worried about? We'll have to figure that out as the tournament goes on, I guess.
Yeah, 1093, JST is still strong.
JST,
Yeah, there's definitely some good teams out there for OT, but yeah, it'll be really interesting.
118, 1888, 1888 as well is out there. So yeah, I think maybe at best they could hope for one more win, but yeah, this was a very nice win as well against a team that they were the underdog. 1602 was the underdog in this match. They fought a team that had just as many stars as they do, and yeah, it got a very nice win for sure.
We start to see. I mean, I think Valiant Stand is a pretty interesting skill to use. Just holding structures. I think I've seen them use a Valiant Stand pretty much only on this Desert Altar that they've had, but they've been able to hold the Desert Altar like every single time. There was one time where they used Valiant Stand, but it was a bit too late, and LN93 was able to capture it. But I think it'll be really interesting to see how 16OT is able to progress in this Osiris League season in the realm of Horus. And it's a great showing from them, great showing from LN93, but at the end of the day, if you're not able to win in arcs and you're pretty much going even in occupation, then you are bound to lose. GG's to both teams. We have Vess from 16OT at 256k individual score. We could see that it was 29.5k to 32.3k. Arc of Osiris is being the major difference. Provisions, I mean, they got 4.1 in terms of provisions, which is crazy, but
that's wild.
Was not able to go over that Arc of Osiris score, unfortunately, for LN93. Brian, do you have any last final words for this game?
Yeah, Plata, you asked me a few moments ago what I thought 16OT's chances were going forward. I think I stuttered through my answer a little bit, but the chat is providing some pretty good context, actually. Trapped Vibe saying, I believe in 16OT after fighting them. I know not to underestimate them. I have trust in their whales. And another commenter saying, OT had top KP in the 1365 KVK. So they've not only done well in Osiris League, but they've performed very well in some very high level Lost Kingdoms recently. And nothing we saw in that match indicated anything other than extreme strength from 16OT. So they might be a team on the rise.
There you go. And I see 1770 and 26A commentating together. We are in a truce. Be sure to subscribe to our channels. Links in the description. We will be having Kingsland in a couple of days here. And be sure to subscribe to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel for more Osiris League content. We'll catch you guys at 15 UTC. See you there.